The Matterhorn, standing at 14,692 feet, is one of the most recognizable mountains on Earth. Climbing it usually starts in the dark and ends hours later on a narrow summit. But today, we're going to trace the entire Hörnli Ridge step by step. From the Hörnli Hut, across exposed ridges and fixed rope sections, to a summit where timing matters, because the way down has claimed more lives than the way up. No shortcuts, just the route explained. Let's go. We start in Zermatt at 1,620 meters, a small Swiss town tucked into a valley surrounded by peaks. The Matterhorn towers above everything else here. Sharp, isolated, unmistakable. Most climbers take a cable car from Zermatt up to Schwarzsee at 2,583 meters. From there, it's a steep 2.5-hour hike to the Hörnli Hut, which sits at 3,260 meters on the northeast ridge. The trail switchbacks through loose scree and broken rock. It's not technical, but some climbers begin to feel the altitude. Your legs feel heavier, your breathing gets shallow. This is the warm-up. As you approach the hut, the ridge sharpens. The rock changes from gray talus to solid, blocky gneiss. The terrain ahead becomes clearer, steep but climbable, a thin line running straight up toward the summit. The Hörnli Hut is where you sleep, where you wait, where the real climb begins. The Hörnli Hut holds just over 100 climbers on a busy summer night. It's cramped, loud, and full of nervous energy. Most people leave around 4 a.m., headlamps flickering in a long line up the ridge in a strict hierarchy. The local guides and their clients leave the door first, then outside guides, and finally the unguided climbers. If an unguided climber tries to overtake a guide at the start, it usually results in a verbal confrontation. You're roped to a guide or a partner. You're wearing a helmet, a harness, and approach shoes or light mountaineering boots. The rock is dry for now, but that can change. From here, the Hörnli Ridge rises 1,200 vertical meters to the summit. It's rated AD, Assez Difficile, which translates to fairly difficult in alpine terms. That means exposed, scrambling, some sections of UIAA grade 2 and 3 climbing, and long stretches where a fall could be fatal. The goal is simple. Follow the ridge, don't get off route, don't get slow, and most importantly, don't get caught in the weather. You clip into your first fixed rope within 10 minutes of leaving the hut. The lower ridge is blocky, steep, and surprisingly physical. You're climbing on your hands and feet now, moving from ledge to ledge, testing every handhold. The rock is solid granite, but it's polished smooth in places from decades of traffic. Fixed ropes appear frequently, sometimes spaced close together, sometimes not at all. Steel cables bolted into the rock. You clip a carabiner to the rope and slide it upward as you climb. It's not for pulling yourself up, it's a backup. If you slip, the rope catches you. But here's the thing. Fixed ropes don't eliminate exposure. You're still climbing on the edge of a ridge that drops hundreds of meters on both sides. One side falls toward Italy, the other falls toward Switzerland. There's no flat ground, no margin for error. The altitude is starting to press. At 3,500 meters, some climbers feel lightheaded. The air holds less oxygen. Your muscles fatigue faster. Your decision-making slows. This section isn't technically hard, but it tests you early. If you're struggling here, the terrain above only gets more demanding. Around 3,700 meters, the ridge narrows. The rock becomes sharper, the fixed ropes become constant. You're moving through steep sections of angled granite that require careful footwork. It's not vertical, but it's slick, and it's fully exposed. The traverse sections here are narrow, sometimes just a boot's width. You're moving sideways, clipped to the rope, testing each step. If you look down, you see nothing but air and distant valleys. The wind picks up. It funnels through the ridge, pulling at your jacket. You hear it before you feel it, a low whistle that never stops. This is the terrain that has defined the Matterhorn's reputation since the beginning. In 1865, during the first ascent, 4 climbers fell during the descent. The rope between them broke. They slid nearly 1,200 meters down the north face. Edward Whymper, the expedition leader, survived, but the tragedy marked the mountain. It wasn't the summit that killed them, it was the way down. You keep climbing. At 4,003 meters, you reach the Solvay Hut. It's a small box made from wood and aluminium and is bolted to the ridge. It holds maybe 10 people, and it's not a rest stop. It's an emergency shelter, locked unless someone's life depends on it. This is the psychological halfway point. The summit is still 475 meters above you, but the terrain ahead gets steeper, the air gets thinner, the crowds get tighter. On busy days, climbers bottleneck here. They wait for slower parties ahead to move. They sit on narrow ledges, clipped to the rope, trying not to think about how long they've been climbing. Timing matters. Many guides use the Solvay Hut as a strict turnaround checkpoint. The summit push takes another 3 to 4 hours, and you need to be off the mountain before afternoon storms roll in. Weather on the Matterhorn changes fast. Clear skies at sunrise can turn into lightning and snow by noon. Climbers have been struck by lightning on the upper ridge. Others have frozen in place, unable to move up or down. From the Solvay Hut, you can see the summit. It's close, but it's still far. Above 4,200 meters, the rock changes. It's no longer blocky and solid. It's looser, more fractured. You're pulling on edges that shift slightly under your weight. Every move requires focus. The fixed ropes here are critical. The terrain is steep enough that a slip without a rope would be unrecoverable. You're climbing through narrow chimneys, over rock steps, and along knife-edge ridges where both sides drop into nothing. This is the section known as the shoulder. It's a false summit, a bulge in the ridge that tricks you into thinking you're almost there. You're not. The actual summit is still 200 meters higher, hidden behind the ridgeline. The altitude hits harder now. At 4,400 meters, some climbers begin to feel altitude symptoms, headaches, dizziness, especially without acclimatization. There's no time to adjust. You either push through or turn back. The final slopes are steep snow and loose rock. You're moving on all fours again, clawing upward, breathing hard. The summit cross comes into view, a small metal cross anchored to the highest point. And then you're there. The summit of the Matterhorn is a narrow ridge, maybe 2 meters wide. There's a cross on the Swiss side, a small cairn on the Italian side. The views stretch across the Alps, Monte Rosa, the Weisshorn, the Dom. On a clear day, you can see France. Most climbers spend 5 to 10 minutes here. You take a photo, you catch your breath. You realize how tired you are. But the summit isn't the finish, it's the halfway point. You still have to get down. This is where the Matterhorn becomes dangerous. The majority of serious accidents on the Hörnli Ridge happen during the descent. Climbers are exhausted, their legs are shaking, their focus is gone, and the terrain doesn't get easier. You're down climbing the same exposed ridges, the same fixed ropes, the same narrow traverses. The descent takes almost as long as the ascent. You're facing downward now, unable to see your footholds clearly. You're reverse climbing sections that felt manageable on the way up. And if the weather turns, you're trapped. In 1995, a sudden storm hit the upper ridge during a crowded summit day. At least 5 climbers died from hypothermia and falls. Some were found still clipped to the fixed ropes, frozen in place. Guides enforce strict turnaround times for a reason. If you're not off the upper ridge by early afternoon, the risk rises sharply. The rock gets colder, the wind picks up, your body shuts down. The descent to the Hörnli Hut takes 3 to 4 hours. From there, it's another 2 hours down to Schwarzsee. By the time you reach Zermatt, you've been moving for 12 to 14 hours. Most climbers say the same thing afterward. The summit wasn't the hardest part. It was staying focused long enough to get down. The Hörnli Ridge is the easiest route up the Matterhorn, but easiest is relative. It's a 1,200 meter climb on loose rock, narrow ridges, and fixed ropes at altitudes where your body starts to fail. It's climbed by hundreds of people every summer, and it remains one of the most demanding routes in the Alps. But it's climbable, it's logical, and if you respect the terrain, the weather, and your own limits, it's a route that rewards you with one of the most iconic summits in the world. That's the Hörnli Ridge.